Lovely stuff, live from Maida Vale. That was Marcel Wave with Something Looming. And Peg, I'm Mark Riley. That is Gideon Cole. That is Michelle Chowdhury. And Marcel Wave, hello.
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 Hello. You all right?
Very well, thank you, yeah. That was marvellous. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. So, Micah, would you mind introducing your bandmates, please?
Sure. So we've got Murphy on bass.
Hello.
Flora on keys.
Hello.
Patrick on drums.
All right.
Ollie on guitar.
Yeah.
And me, Micah, on vocals.
Excellent stuff. Okay, and so there has been some cross-pollination between this programme and several people in the room tonight, not least via the previous bands being Sauna Youth and Monotony, and also Cold Pumas.
That's right.
And the Worms.
This is correct, isn't it? So, okay, just to let everybody know the DNA pool within which you are swimming. Wonderful stuff. So whose idea was it, in the first place, to name the band after a hairstyle? Because we've had much merriment about it here.
It was my idea, but I didn't really think about it being a hairstyle. I just thought if I ever had a band, I'd want to call it that because I like the way it sounded.
Okay, so it's that shallow, is it?
It's that shallow, yeah. What can I say?
No, but I mean, I didn't know a hairstyle was a Marcel Wave. So when I went to Google you to try and find out something about your past and your history, when we started playing your records and loving them, and then it was then eventually that I found out that a Marcel Wave was a haircut. And believe you me, if you could see my hair now, you would know I have no interest in hairstyles whatsoever.
You've never had a Marcel Wave?
No, I've never had one. And
just talk us through what you actually need to do to have a Marcel Wave, because the wave part of it is a joy to behold, but it's difficult to do it justice in mere words on the radio. But have a go if you like.
I think you slart it down with a lot of product, and then I think you sort of put pins in it, so it kind of makes it. I mean, I've never done it myself. I've called a Band-Aid, but I've never actually done a Marcel Wave.
I think there's probably some hot irons involved.
Probably some hot irons, yeah. Bit of pomade, maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely some products. But
a lot of products,
curling tongs. That seems to be.
Yeah.
So some hot tongs, some decent products. You're talking like a mid-strength pomade.
Yeah.
Possibly
I
a
saw
bit
someone
more.
do it on YouTube with an egg, which apparently is the best way to do it.
A whole egg or just the egg white?
No, I think a whole egg.
The whole egg, so
Just
the
stick a
richness.
whole egg,
The yolk as well. That
the
would
yolk,
work.
yeah, it makes it very shiny.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be a spectator in this part of the conversation because, I started it, but Gid has got a fine head of hair and usually bequiffed.
Ooh.
And as I say, I'm just very, very poor in that department.
I'm a bit low on product at the moment, you see, Mark, which is why it's a bit floppy at the moment, so to speak. But now I know that I just rub an egg in it, so I might do that during the course of the programme.
I tell you what, the thing is that the Co-op, other stores are available. It's still open around the corner. Do you want me to whip out now, Gid?
Get some eggs and pelt me with eggs. Bring them back here. Pelt me with eggs, Mark, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, so the first tune you did tonight, Something Looming, is the title track of the album.
Yes.
Okay, would you give us a kind of a bit of a précis about what the album's about?
Oh, that's tricky. It's about sort of the decline of England, is it? I don't know. It's a lot about sort of corrupt architects, post-war architects, death of the British High Street, loads of depressing stuff like that, really.
It's quite a pessimistic outlook, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm actually not. But I did write the lyrics, so I guess it is, I suppose, yeah.
Oh, maybe. Do you know, maybe this is the way forward, because if you aren't pessimistic at all and you're full of the joys of spring, you've got to get the misery out somehow.
You have, haven't you? So.
Yeah, and it's all like inner angst, so you channel it all into your songs. It's cathartic, that's the word they use.
Yeah, and there's poignancy in there as well, and not least in the tune we just heard, which is Peg. And for those who don't know about... Some people actually might know one thing about Peg Entwistle, and that would be how she died. But the rest of the story, which is dealt with to some extent in the song as well, and dealt with really beautifully, I think, is quite something. It was definitely something worth celebrating, and somebody worth investigating and celebrating, I think, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why I wrote it. I mean, I came across her in Kenneth Anger book, which was Hollywood Babylon, and they didn't even use the right picture of the actress. And the more I dug into her story, the more kind of interesting she was. And actually, yeah, her death is the most famous thing about her, but she was actually a really fascinating person.
And that film, 13 Women, in particular. Does she feature in that? Is that where she ended up
She
on the
does.
cutting room floor? Or no, she
Yes, yeah. She does feature in 13 Women, and I put the film in there because I think they all die, and like all the women die in 13 Women, sort of
Spoiler.
mysterious death. Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Fair enough, yeah.
So we mentioned and alluded to it, but the fact is that Peg, she actually threw herself off the H of the
She
Hollywood
did.
sign, didn't
Yes, yeah.
she? Right, that was the okay. So there we go. And so, were there any kind of really optimistic Agadoo type tunes that you wrote that would have found themselves out of place on the album?
I did. Well, in the practice room, we did do one, which was inspired by Noel Edmonds' Cosmic Ordering, but it didn't make it. Surprisingly, it didn't make it onto the album.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it was positive, though.
I tell you what, I mean that's got to be a concept album, and that's got to be the
Well-
next album, I would imagine.
All based
Well, yeah.
around that.
Yeah.
All based around Cosmic Ordering, yeah.
Okay.
I think the album closer is a. Well, I'm very fond of the whole record. The trouble is with the album closer. I've alluded to it without saying its name because I have trouble with the word linoleum. How do you feel?
That's perfect.
Well, yeah, but I had to take a run up at it. I had to think about it, and then at the end, sort of stop to say, "I think that was okay." And that's not what you want with words. Frankly, you want them to trip off the tongue, don't you? But
You
anyway,
do.
What you're saying is don't use the word again in your
I
next record.
won't. I'm sorry.
And the strange thing is, I really struggle with linoleum
you
as well.
see, you see,
Linoleum.
lino. What's the matter with lino? For
Nothing.
goodness' sake,
know.
doesn't scan as well. Doesn't sound as
Don't
good.
scan, no.
There is a phrase used in your press release, so I'm not fearful of using it, but post-punk, which seems to be kind of omnipresent now, and it is surprising exactly how many bands you can recognise the kind of seeds of bands I would put to you, like maybe Kleenex or Lilliput, same thing really, or Au Pairs or Delta 5. Are they the kind of bands that you do listen to, or is it just a coincidence?
Oh, I'm probably not the best one to ask about this.
I mean,
I'm not
yeah,
very
I mean,
musical.
I think me and Patrick and Flora and Murphy have probably listened to all of those bands at various points, but yeah, I don't know if it's something we intentionally sort of tried to do.
Of course not, no. But I mean, like I say, you know, you are called post-punk by some people, at least, you know, and that sends you in a certain direction because it is
Yeah.
it is a very influential thing. I mean, punk was very influential. Punk went away and then it came back again about 4 years later and was pretty rubbish, to be honest. But it's taken a couple of decades for post-punk to kind of re-emerge, and it's a good thing. Okay, then. So, where else are you up to? Have got any gigs coming up?
We have. We've got the JT Sorry doing a festival in Nottingham on 2nd of November.
Right.
Which Nightingale's headlining, which should be fun.
Okay.
And then we're doing the Ivy House on the 23rd of November.
Excellent stuff.
That's Nunhead, is it? South East London, is that right?
It is, yes. Yeah.
There we are. Good.
Excellent. Okay, well, you've done 2 great tunes for us already, and you're going to do 2 more now. So what are the next 2, please?
So the next 2 are Discount Centre and Bent Out of Shape.
Fabulous. Okay, Marcel Wave live in session. Thank you.
Thank